I greet you guys to another episode of my podcast. Today, again with a guest speaker here. He's Timon Näpfer, a professional Swiss football player. Timon, would you like to introduce yourself to the community?
Yes, as you already said, I'm a Swiss football player. I'm really excited to be here, and let's get started.
Tell us a bit about your journey. How did you get into football, and what has the road to professional football been like so far?
It has been a really interesting road. My dad has been a quite good footballer as well. He played also for FC Zurich, which was my first big club. But when he turned like 19 years old, he focused on his studies and stopped playing football. So he didn't pursue a professional career, but he always loved the sport, and he also started to play with us a lot when I was really small. And then at 5 years old, I started playing at FC Wollishofen, a small club where I grew up. And then at 7 years old, I already took the step to FC Zurich, which was more professional. And then I played there for 11 years, just until the under 18 team. And then I went to FC Luzern.
Yeah.
And after 2 years there, changed the club to Rapperswil, which also was the club where I became a professional.
All right. So since then, you're really a professional footballer.
Exactly. Before it was youth teams, also on a good level, but not at a point where you make your living.
Then, what does your life as a professional footballer look like today?
It's a cool everyday life. So you sleep a lot, which is also part of the job. I try to get 9 hours of sleep. And then you start with being in the gym, doing some warm-up prevention. Then you have a video session where you do some tactical stuff, where you watch games from the opponents, also from yourself. And you have a training session just until 12 o'clock. Then you eat with the team. And then it depends on the day. You start with another gym session, or you go out on the pitch. And I also like to do a lot of recovery work, which means stretching, black roll. I've also been in the sauna, and yeah, it can be quite different. There are also some days where I do some mental coaching, mental sessions. There are also days where I only train once and have a free afternoon. So it really depends on when we play and how high the intensity of the trainings are.
All right. What do you enjoy most about being a footballer?
It's my biggest hobby, and to do it as a job is one of the biggest privilege I have in my life. I love to just kick around with the boys. It's something I really enjoy. And also the freedom we have. Of course, we have to be there, but we also have freedom to look after our bodies, to take some time for stretching, also for sleep, which is really nice. I can't complain.
Was it always a dream of yours, becoming a footballer?
Yes. My first dream job was becoming a fireman, but that changed very quickly when I started playing football and started watching the games on television. It has always been a big dream. I love to play the game, and probably started at around 5 years old.
Oh, wow. What are some of the biggest sacrifices people don't usually see being a footballer?
There are a lot. For me, the biggest was always friendship. Was a big sacrifice. I remember in primary school, there were so many birthday parties on Friday evenings, and I knew I wasn't able to come because I had game on Saturday.
Mhm.
This is one of the things that hurt me the most, because I really love having good people around me, but that was one sacrifice. And I would say that's the one that hurt a lot. Something else is not being able to do certain sports because of the risk of an injury. For example, I love to snowboard and do winter sports, but this has been something I had to cut since I pursued that dream.
What are some of the biggest challenges you faced in professional football, whether mentally, physically, or emotionally?
Physically, I think it's obvious. You deal with injuries, which hurt a lot because you're just sidelined and you can't do anything about it. Sometimes it's even not your fault. Mentally, it's probably the pressure. And also rejection. I've dealt with a lot of rejection, as you I mean, I've changed club 3 times, and most of the time it has been because I was rejected. And to keep going there, to never stop believing in yourself, also to work hard to prove them wrong is a big obstacle. And I think also in football, you need a lot of patience. And that's something I wasn't very good with, but now football has taught me to become better in that. So this is one of the big challenges I had.
Can you say something about your mental problems or difficulties?
Yeah, I had a lot of them. I really want to be perfect in every game because from young age it was really clear I want to become a professional football player. So for me, it was always you have to play the perfect game because you need to pursue that dream. You need to get closer to that dream. So doing mistakes was something really bad for me, which also was such a big struggle to keep going after mistakes because for me, after one mistake, the game was not perfect, so the game was a failure. So I had a lot of problem with confidence also after mistakes because I had negative self-talk also during the game, and it was also always kind of an attack on your dream if I did mistakes, if I was on the pitch and didn't play well. And this was really difficult to perform with this kind of mindset. And then it was really important to get help, to work with mental coaches, but also to dig deep into the Word of God, to dig deep into that relationship, knowing that there is someone out there who has my life under control, who's in that situation with me, and who really cares and helps me to let go and to enjoy the game, because I started the game as a kid with a lot of fun and a lot of joy, and then there was a time where it was work and just seeing that goal, that dream to become a professional player, and then the joy faded away because it was so much pressure. And then I really needed to change something, and my faith has been something that helped me the most, I would even say, more than any mental coach.
Before you talked about patience in football, would you also say like trusting to God is an important part?
Extremely, because there will be situations where you feel like, and I think that's also applicable to entrepreneurship or anywhere where you feel like you deserve more success, more attention. In football, it was more play time, and you just have to wait, and you just have to keep going. Don't get discouraged. To be patient. And for me, it also then started to be like a trusting in God's plan. He has a clear plan with your life. For him, it's not difficult to give you success. He can do it in a second. But to give you patience, for you to learn that, he will need some time, and you have to trust him that success will come. And give God this time to teach you that things, especially patience and trust, and then it will be a way sweeter success, I think.
So then we'll get more to the part of our Christian faith and the relationship to God. Um, what role does your faith specifically play in your daily life as a professional athlete?
For me, it's an anchor. Of course, I think every Christian knows that it's always a battle. I don't live the perfect Christian life. It's not easy to stay disciplined. But for me, it's a really important anchor, also an identity. Because every day for me, I have to perform in trainings because I want to play on Saturday and I have to show the coach that I'm ready. And for me, it's just that anchor that keeps me away from getting too caught up in thoughts, in pressure, in the moment, but gives me another perspective of, okay, today I'm a child of God and I want to serve Him, and I'm under His eyes. So what He says about my day is way more important than what my coach says or other players. So this kind of focus switch, which I try to do every morning by reading the Bible and also praying, is very important, because then life becomes way more enjoyable, because it's not about the opinions of others, but about following God. And following God is something that you can do any day, anytime, and have success in it. So I will have a bad game in football. It's normal. So I can't have success every day in football, but it's possible to be successful today in your relationship with God if you try to. And so that focus shift is really helpful and keeps me going.
Wow, that's a very inspiring way you live your life. what I was wondering about, is it really like when you play good in the trainings, that decides if you play on the game on Saturday or Sunday?
No, there are a lot of factors, but I think I would wish it would be like that. But as a team, you also have to grow, have good chemistry.
Yeah.
So if you change the team every weekend because one trained better, there would be no chance for it to be chemistry in the team. So you have, say, anchor positions which play every game because you need that structure in your game. And then you always have position where it changes, and there hopefully it's about how you perform in training, how you use your chances when you play on the games. It's also different because playing a game and playing in training are different kind of things. So you have to also perform during your game time. Training time is something. I know players that are amazing in training, but when it comes to games, they're not able to play the same. So it's there are a lot of factors, and it's difficult to really have a spot to play a lot every weekend.
It sounds to me that you're always being looked at the training, also on games from your trainers and so on. How can you deal with that pressure, or always being under such a pressure?
I think it depends on how you view your life. For me, I know God has a plan for me, and He will also be the one who has good things in store for me also in the future. So if you don't have that, it's going to be difficult because you feel like, okay, today we have game, I have to perform in order to have a future, in order to earn money, in order to be able to eat and also have a family. So then it's really difficult because then you have a lot of external pressure. But me, also as I dig deep into my faith, I know that God also has a clear plan for my life, also for my everyday. So I don't want to fear about tomorrow. It's also what Jesus said, and don't worry about tomorrow. So just stay in the moment and try to enjoy the game and just be as a small Timon at 5 years old and play football because you have a heavenly Father who's in control, who will open the doors at the right times. And if it's not football, he will have other things in store for you, which will be even better. So if you really trust in God's plan, yeah, we talk about having faith in Jesus, but for me, it's also really important to have faith in what Jesus said. And if Jesus said, "Okay, don't worry about tomorrow, because your heavenly Father cares for you," and it's for me, it's also extremely meaningful to have faith in exactly these words in order to have a fruitful life.
Yeah, thank you. You're playing on the left wing or right wing?
I can play both.
Yeah.
So I can play also in midfield.
Yeah.
I'm quite. I can play a lot of positions.
Okay, just to clear that.
Yeah.
Have there been moments in your career where you've clearly experienced God's guidance or faithfulness?
Yes, I have. I remember one time I wanted to change club from FC Zurich to FC Lucerne. It was really important for me because at FC Zurich I wasn't selected, I wasn't appreciated. I really had a feeling of, okay, I have to go because there are other players they like more, they want to give more attention, more playing time to. And then I really wanted to go to FC Lucerne, but it was a difficult situation. The negotiations were very tough, and there was a time where they stopped, and they said you won't be able to change teams, and that was a really tough 2 weeks because I didn't. For me, it was sure I'm not going back to FC Zurich. I've already left them. It's for me this thing is over.
So you was without a club.
Exactly for 2 weeks, and I always had that dream of becoming a professional football player, and I talked to God a lot in these 2 weeks. And yeah, he remained faithful. One day before it's like a transfer period where it's like 2 months where you're able to change clubs. After that, it's not possible. You have to wait 6 months until the next transfer period. And then one day before the transfer period ended, Lucerne started the last call to FC Zurich, and then they were able to make the deal happen, which was such an important day in my footballing career, because if that didn't happen, I probably would have never become a professional. And for me, it's clear things don't happen without God's hands in it. So that was one moment which was really, really special. And then also, it was difficult for me to decide after Lucerne where to go next. I was searching for a third division club in Switzerland.
So you had to go from Lucerne.
Yeah.
Is it like a contract you can stay only for 2 years, you said?
No, but it was really clear that I was not going to make it to the professional team in Lucerne because of some circumstances. And then for me, it was obvious, okay, I need to go because I want to become a professional, and here it's not possible. And then I was, on the verge of joining different clubs in the third division, which is not a professional league. And then I decided to go to Rapperswil, which were fifth place. I would have been also able to go to other clubs, which were second and third place at the time. But somehow,
in the second division,
in the third division.
On 13, yeah. Okay.
So all clubs interested were in the third division. But somehow I chose Rapperswil because it was the best feeling I had with the club. I chose Rapperswil, which were lower placed, but at the end of the season they got promoted to second division. So this was a big step for me into professional football, which has also been amazing. I'm really thankful for that, because I know I could have chosen any other club which weren't promoted. And for me, that was also a moment which I just had a feeling that Rapperswil was the right club. For me, that's God's guidance, always. So it was really beautiful.
Well, thanks for sharing. How do you stay grounded in your identity where football is such a performance-driven environment?
I think it's really important to analyze where you keep looking at. Also in my life right now, if I keep looking at Instagram and keep comparing myself to other players, I have some players I've played with there that are miles ahead of me right now, that are playing in way higher leagues. And if I keep my eyes on Instagram, on their profiles, also on these things, it's really difficult to have a firm foundation. I feel like then you're just by every new post and every new move players make, by the next big transfer a colleague makes, you're just not stable anymore. But it has never been about comparing yourself. There's a very specific plan God has for you, which will also be important that you go exactly the path you are in right now. Also to be able to encourage others to be formed. We are not perfect creatures. We need to be formed by God in order to also deal then with fame and money and success that can come in this football business. But I think for God it's more important to form your heart, because He wants you in heaven, and He's less interested about your success in the football world. So to stay grounded, I have to stay close to God. I know it sounds, I don't know, a bit cliche, but that's just how I experience it. If I'm with God, I have peace. I know where I'm from. I know what I need to focus on. I know where to keep my eyes on, and then I'm grounded.
And as we know, we have the privilege to always go back to God. So when the connection to Him isn't as stable as it should be, maybe we have a tough season or something. I want to tell you guys, it's always important that you can always go back to God and again seek Him. He will eventually connect with you again. Yeah,
that's so important. I feel like this is something I had to learn a lot, because I do mistakes a lot. I'm way off being perfect. That's just not what I am. And I think also when you do mistakes, it's a sign that you need God a lot. But for us, we always take it like, oh, I did a mistake, I sinned. Now I'm far away from God. Now I can't really enter His presence. Now it's difficult to go back. But if you sin, it's a sign of you need more of God. You need more time with Him. You need more more of His Spirit, more of His love and joy in your heart in order to keep you from these mistakes.
And you're never unworthy before God to come to Him.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you have done in your life. Yeah, like we said, you can seek Him through the Bible or just talk to Him. He will always eventually give you an answer because, like He said, we do mistakes and we're not perfect, and but we're still His children, and He knows exactly how we feel like, and yeah, so never feel you too unworthy to seek Him.
Yeah, exactly. If you feel unworthy, I feel like you didn't quite understand what the gospel says. The gospel says, if you put your faith in Jesus, if you seek the Lord, then all your sins will be washed away. So the moment you feel like, okay, I did something wrong, I did mistakes, so now I'm not able to connect with God, that shows that you don't really believe the gospel, because the gospel says your works don't matter. It's that faith that matters in order for you to have a connection with God, which is something that also helps me a lot. Keep your eyes on the gospel, because that's the truth.
What does your stewardship mean to you as a footballer, especially regarding your talent, influence, time?
That's a good question, which I also have difficulties to deal with, because I feel like at the moment I'm not at the footballing level where I could be talent-wise, because there have been some circumstances that weren't in my favor, and it's been difficult to deal with that, because of course you want to use your talents wisely, you want to use them also for the glory of God. But I had to learn that I have to focus on the things I can, that I'm in charge of. So I'm in charge of keeping my body fit, of sleeping enough, of eating the right things, of training enough. And then the success is not always promised. And when I look at my career, I feel like I'm underperforming. But that's just something I have to leave in God's hands and keep my focus back on the things I can change, which is everything I mentioned before. So that's what I focus on, because it's really important. I don't want to be in heaven once and see the potential that I had and have a lot of regrets. To have that, you really have to do the things you're in charge of to become the best version of yourself.
Something came in my mind. I think once you told me that you live like I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, the bomb mentality of Kobe Bryant. Is that right? Can you tell us something more what that means?
Kobe Bryant is an inspiring person because he worked like a madman. He was training so much. He was training to a point where people would say, okay, that's unhealthy, that's not possible. But he was so focused and so clear on his goal. And let's just take one example which helped me a lot. For him, his whole journey was like, it was only about learning. For him, if he had an important game, for him this game wasn't important in a sense of I have to win now. It was important in a sense of, okay, this is the best chance to learn, because in 5 or 10 years I'm going to play the same game again, as important, and then I want to be prepared. So for him, every day was a chance to learn, to become better, and he never had that mindset of I have to perform. He was also always focusing on the future. I need to become better. I need to take this chance today. And then you play differently, because you also embrace failure, because you need to learn. You need to learn how to get better. You need to learn what you do wrong. So he has such a strong mindset in the sense of I want to grow into the best version of myself, and he had a lot of success with it. And I really like him, because he was clear. He had a vision. He went after it, and he succeeded. I don't think he was the most talented player ever, but he's among the top 5 basketball players.
Have you tried that principle yourself?
Yes.
In your everyday life or the sports you play?
Yes. It's not easy for me. I'm struggling with that because, of course, now I'm a professional football player, but you also have to earn your spot for the next year. So it's not like I'm a professional now and now I can lean back and I'm going to be a professional for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
It can stop tomorrow. So sometimes I can get overwhelmed by that. And I go back into, oh, I have to perform. Oh, today is important. Today is about winning and showing everyone. But then I try to remind myself that God's in control, that He holds my life, that it's not I that have to look after my future. I just have to give my best today, and then I can implement that mentality from Kobe, which means learn as much as you can, because then you'll be able to perform in the future.
Think I try doing the same, not in sports, but just in my everyday life. So having the mindset of you never end of learning. So I try to have the mindset that I can learn from everyone out there, every person. Doesn't matter how, from what culture the person is, or how much he or she weighs, or what type of sports she or he does. I think it's important to have like an open-minded mindset, because in this way you can just develop yourself much more, and you develop your knowledge, your abilities and stuff. So I would encourage you to maybe do the same, or ask yourself if you're already having such a mindset, because in my life it helps me so much when I just never end of learning. And then I try to be an interested person. So when a person is good at something in a specific profession or like way of living, then I try to interact with them, because like I've said, you will learn so much through it.
I can confirm that. Corsin is very an interested guy. It's a big strength of him. I think he's learned so much and has grown so much also through that, by speaking to people and listening to them. And he also takes a lot of notes. So
Thank you.
I recommend it as well, because I see the change in Corsin.
We coming a bit back to challenges and growth. Looking back, what are some defining moments that have shaped both of your character and your faith?
Ooh. I think the deepest valleys are the moments that form you the most, and the moments that also you learn the most. And if you look back at them, I remember my first big injury at 16 years old. I was out for 6 months.
What was that?
It was a knee injury, and it was a difficult time. It was my first big injury. I was in the youth national team as well. Then they kicked me out because I was injured for too long. And it was a moment where I felt like, okay, my dream of becoming a professional footballer is crumbling. And in that moment, I wasn't as strong in my faith. I just started the journey. So it was a moment where I felt like, okay, my life is crumbling down. My life is just going to be a mess, because I'm not going to be a professional football player. And that was the moment I started to talk with my older brother about Jesus, about his faith. And it was the moment when I started to take the Bible seriously, started going to church, started my faith journey, and I look back, okay, I needed that injury. I needed it because I need Jesus in my life. And it's also the same with the last 2 years. I had a lot of difficult moments, situations in my life, which were really hard, which I think it were the most challenging 2 years of my life. Right? In the end, I think now I'm happier than before. I have more peace than before. I'm way more grateful than before. I'm able to enjoy little things more. So I feel like difficult circumstances, as my injury, also the time in football now, which I didn't play a lot. I also had 5 injuries last season, which were such difficult times, but it made me into a person who who is more happy with his life. And that's also a promise of God, that Romans 8:28, that everything works out for the best for you. And there's something that I experienced. I can encourage you guys. It's a truth. In some moments, it's impossible to see. In some moments, you feel like, no, that can't be true. And in some moments, it's also not the Bible verse you need. I'm not going to a friend which is going through a rough situation and say straight to him face, oh, don't worry, it's going to work out for your best. But if I look back on my life, I see this Bible verse is truth. It really happened.
Thank you for sharing. I think I have also a Bible verse or that just came in my mind that would suit. It's Romans 8:18, so almost the same. I could look out for a good translation. It's like it says the pain you feel right now isn't compared to the joy you will feel in the future. I think it's like that.
It's an amazing verse. Which
I can show you on the screen then. Or
you want to read it?
Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later. It's the New Living Translation.
It's a beautiful verse. Also in the context of, which also had me a lot. I know by my faith I'm saved, so I'm going to spend eternity with God. So there is paradise coming, which will be way better than we can even imagine. So maybe think about your best day in your life and then multiply it by 10. This will be your everyday life in eternity. You can look at the further at this perspective, which helps me a lot to endure pain during my life, because I know, okay, 80 years after that, it's eternity of joy, of party, of living the best life, which also gives me motivation to be more focused, because I don't necessarily need to party now, enjoy life now, because I'm going to have an eternity of it. But now in my life, I can do other important things, which also help me, as we talked about. At a young age, I used to skip a lot of parties because of my dream. And I know it's worth it, because with my dream, or with achieving my dream, I hope I can be an influence to a lot of people, sharing the gospel, also being a testimony, and that's way more important, because the parties are gonna come anyway during eternity. So I love this verse, but I also think this verse can encourage us with our everyday life. So we know, okay, if we go a lot to a gym, it's a pain for a moment, but if you look at the result, healthy body, longer life, it will be a way bigger joy that's coming compared to the pain that we feel right now.
And that is something I've experienced in the recent weeks or maybe 2 months, where I a bit fell again a bit into instant dopamine, where you look out for dopamine that you don't have to work for. So then you get this joy and stuff, but it won't last for long. But like you said, when you at first feel the pain, maybe through the gym or through workouts or work on your job and stuff, then you will have to be then you will be challenged first, but then the joy you will feel afterwards is like you can just stay in it and you can appreciate it. Or how can I explain that better? It's like
it lasts longer. The joy lasts longer, I think. Is with a lot of things. For example, if you want to eat fast food and you decide to not do it, of course it's a pain. You don't get satisfaction in this moment. But if you have a healthy body for let's say 17 more years, that's a joy that lasts way longer than just having these 15 minutes of being happy while eating your McDonald's. So it's kind of a trade-off, but it's a principle that I feel like can have such a big and good influence on your life, to say, okay, I'm way more interested in the long run than in the moment. It's also a bit of Kobe Bryant's mentality, which we talked about. I'm way more interested in being in shape for 70 more years than having a good McDonald's meal for the moment. I'm way more interested in having, let's say, a healthy mind, which is not filled with doom scrolling and everything else, but which is filled with the ability to pray, to read the Bible without getting distracted, also to rethink about your life, to reflect, to find joy in little things. But that's also, in order to have that, you have to feel the pain of not being able to doom scroll, of not being able to stay awake until 5 o'clock and do things that give you instant satisfaction. So I try to be way more interested in the long run. Because it fulfills you also more deeply.
Yeah.
If I look back after days which I worked out really hard, where I wasn't distracted, I feel like today was a really good day. And I go to bed at 10 o'clock and I'm happy. And I feel like it was good. In order, when you doom scroll in your bed, which I also know I'm not a saint, you go to bed and you feel like shit. You feel like you've wasted your time. You feel like you won't get anywhere in your life. You feel like it's just, it takes out so much energy of you if you go for that instant dopamine. But if you go for the long run, it will give you a lot of energy because you see the goal, you see your progress, you see where you're heading. But it's difficult. I'm not here to tell you I'm perfect. I'm here to tell you I'm on that way. That's my goal.
It's always a challenge to choose a harder path, but it will pay off. So then we'll go to like a section of vision and your future. Beyond football, what vision has God placed on your heart?
I want to be a guy that really knows his faith and also can defend it, but also lives it purely. For me, one big thing is my goal is to be satisfied with God. So I want Him to just fulfill me so that I'm satisfied, because that's what He can do. If you really dig deep, if you go into His presence, if you take your time, then He will do it. And then you will be set free to do way other things. So if I think I need to be satisfied by my money, I'm going to use it for myself to buy clothes or anything else. But that's just a wasted chance. If you're satisfied by God, you will use the money to bless others, to help, to change the world. And you can do this with a lot of things, also with your friendship, with your partnerships. I want to be fulfilled with God in order to be able to give love instead of needing love, because I wasn't in God's presence and I wasn't filled with His love. That's something I really want to live in my life, because I've experienced in the last 2 years, which were difficult, also with people I love being sick, with injuries, with struggling in football, with struggling also with my studies. It were really rough times. But in these moments, I felt that God is enough. He was able to satisfy my needs. So that's something, or a vision I want to live out in my life, for Him to satisfy my needs. And then I'm able to use my time, my money, my love, my energy for others, make this world a better place. And then I'm gonna party in eternity anyway. So
Thank you for sharing. What kind of impact do you hope to have during and after your career?
I remember when I was really small, like the football stars. Right now, the World Cup is going on. Small kids, especially boys, they look up to them. And whatever they do, it's cool for the kids. They do a certain celebration, the kids will do it. If they have a certain hairstyle, the kids will do it as well. I was one of them kids. And now I hope to be an influence in a good term, in sense of just living a godly life with a lot of love to my neighbors, with a lot of wisdom, with a lot of also fear of God. And I hope that will be a good example for the kids watching, because you have a lot of influence, as we talked about, for the next generation. Exactly.
as I know, you have a group of people. You come together regularly, Christian football players. And could you tell us some more about that? Like, is it a Bible group or?
We call it Bible group or a Bible study.
Yeah.
It started so simple. I don't know. I think 18 years old. I didn't have a lot of Bible knowledge, but I had two friends which wanted to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Which also play football and were interested in growing their faith. So I remember we met in a cafe and started reading the Bible, and then it started. And then he knew a friend, but there were also times where we were only two people. I remember 4 weeks with my brother Diego, just me and him reading our Bible, encouraging each other to keep going, also in football and in life, our relationship with God. And then it started growing. He knew a friend, and then the new friend knew another friend who also played football and wanted to grow in their faith. And then we started doing online calls. We grew. Then we were like, let's say 8 people. Then we started a prayer call on Monday. Now we also have a second group for the younger players. And I didn't do a lot for it. I just was there. I just started without any experience, without any, I don't know, discipleship training or training course, how to lead a Bible group. I just had friends which wanted to read the Bible, and we started. We grew during that time, and now we're quite big, and it's just beautiful brotherhood.
Wow, I think that's always is also a way how you can influence people the good way, especially in football and your team.
So for me, it feels like it has already been worth it. Of course, I'm very competitive. I want to become the best. That's part of me, also part of the game. But I already see God's hands uh, during my career, and also see how He uses me right now through football. So it's really beautiful. I can't lose. If I'm gonna stop play football because another door opens, or maybe this door football closes, I'm still gonna look back and say it was a very good time, which I'm so thankful for.
What I was wondering about, and I think I know the answer, but do you think that people, or like in your case, footballers who are closer to God or have a faith with God, are also more privileged, or will be like more pushed, or have the blessing to become a bigger footballer than others that don't have not anything in common with our faith?
I don't think that God blesses you as an answer. So He looks at you and says, "Okay, you read a lot of Bible, so now I'm going to bless you." I don't think God works that way, because we have a relationship with Him that's not based on our works, and His plan is also not based on our works. But what I really started to experience also in my life is that if I'm close to God, I have certain values, also certain behaviors that's going to benefit my performance. So if I'm close to God and I know that He's in control, and we talked about it, that's how I deal with pressure. So if I'm close to God, I feel less pleasant, and then I'm going to play better. That's just a natural following of being close to God. And which I also experienced is, if I'm close to God, I have more energy and power because I'm fulfilled to keep going, even during the hard times. And obviously, people who keep going, even during the hard times, they are going to have more success. So I feel like naturally, you have better circumstances to be successful if you're close to God, because you feel less pressure, you have better values, you have more dedication. Probably you also don't need to go, I don't know, to go out to party, or you don't need alcohol to be satisfied or to fill that hole in your heart. You only need God, which sets you free in order to probably invest even more into football instead of wasting time elsewhere.
Do you see any change right now in the football space? For example, in our Swiss national team, there are Christians as well, like Ruben Vargas and Manzambie. I think
Yes.
so. Do you see any change that developed in the last year, or can you see, or would you, or what do you think about the future with Christianity and football?
I think there has been quite a change. I mean, it's overwhelming the World Cup with so much voices for Jesus Christ
Yeah.
being raised. It's amazing. I feel like naturally athletes are getting pushed into the direction of God because your life is very unstable and you have a lot of pressure to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like tomorrow I can lose my job, I can lose my incomings, tomorrow my life can be way different. So if you have this situation, you're going to search for someone or something that can give you hope, that can be an anchor. Naturally, you're going to search for it because no person in this world likes to live a life which is where it's not certain if he's going to still have a job tomorrow or if it's still going to have money. And in football, that's just the way it works. That's the business.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to search for an anchor, and I think faith in God gives you one of the best answers. So kind of footballers are pushed into this direction. I think that's also a reason why our football or like Bible study has so many young players joining and we're growing because in order to survive in that business, in that cruel world of football, it's important to have an anchor and you're going to search for it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it find it in Jesus Christ, as we see.
I would say that would be the best way it can happen, that you're being pushed to Jesus Christ. But I think, as you've told me also several times, that are people in your team or in general in football, when you have to deal with so much pressure, that you also can grow like pride and like stuff you do to deal with that pressure. Can you say something about that? Maybe?
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I know so many football players who take snooze or who game a lot or do online casino gambling, also sports gambling. So I feel like the need of something that takes away your thoughts or your pressure is there. Every footballer has that need. I need something that takes me away from this daily pressure of performing, and that can be a lot of things. I hope most of footballers will choose the path with God, but I feel like, but I also feel like it's something that's happening with every person in this world. You have a hole in your heart that you try to fill. Some try to fill it with a girlfriend, some try to fill it with money, with career, with success. Others, they try to fill it with drugs, with alcohol, with partying. So you're always going to have something which you hope that fills that hole in your heart.
And how do you deal with
Pride is something that's, I think you have to look at it from different perspectives. So if I sin, it's always pride because I was prideful in a sense of I thought I knew it better than God. He told me don't do it. I did it anyway. So that's kind of a prideful act from me, saying I know it better than you do. So pride is in a lot of things, but pride in the sense of being prideful about your career, I feel like it's humbling to look back at your career, and I like to do that a lot, and see every moment where you needed God in order to keep going. And if I look back, I see injuries. I see the transfer we talked about from Zurich to Lucerne. I also see the other transfer from Lucerne to Rapperswil. I see the next injuries. And I know without God, that wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't. So if I look back and see where I am now, I know without God, I'm not here. That's just a reality if I look back. And then you become thankful instead of prideful.
So that would be like a tip of yours to
Yes.
how to deal with pride.
Write down moments where you were in need of God, where you wouldn't have made it without God.
Yeah.
And then look back at them. And the moment you think like, oh, I made it here. I'm so strong. I'm such a cool guy. I made it. Look back at those notes and remember that without God, you wouldn't be here.
Mm.
And then what you want to be prideful about, it's just a blessing that God gave you during that season where you needed it.
I can tell this out of my life as well when I write down daily diary and then you look back in what kind of situations you were months back and where you're now, or it couldn't be right in the opposite when you're in a tough situation now, then you always can go back the either or the other way and read again what you have been go through there and just appreciate that God was always on your side. Right?
Absolutely. So if you're in a high, look back and see that it's God's hands that have brought you here. And if you're at the low, look back and see that God's hands has pushed you through a lot of lows already and will push you through this as well.
So I think that's almost it. Thank you so much for your answers and for being here. One question I still have is so I'm 18 years old right now, and I was wondering what would you or what advice would you give your 18-year-old to how to live life or
That's a good question. I would have told him to be patient, and also that the most important thing is consistency. You will have every person in this world has days where they are motivated and where they think they can change the whole world. But what really matters is the consistency. What do you do on your worst days in terms of motivation if you're not motivated at all? These are the days that decide your destiny. That's something I would say to my 18-year-old self. And as well that the best answers to all your questions are found by talking to God.
then I think we're closing with this ending. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. I will also link all his socials in the description if you want to see more from his work or as a football player or you want to get into contact with him. I will link every socials from him in the description. Then I'll thank you for listening. Yeah, I wish you a pleasant day. God bless you in the name of Jesus Christ and goodbye.
See you soon.